Hello, everyone, and welcome to season 2 of the JustNabz podcast with me, Nabil, and
Nabila, Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. How's your holiday, and how is it going?
So I'm back in lockdown, so yeah, that's how my holiday started. What about you?
We are back in lockdown as well, but it's a weird lockdown because it's alternating days when we cannot go out for whatever reason to days when we can go out with some restrictions. But yeah, we are in the whole Europe, we are in the middle of a mayhem because of the whole vaccine and everything. So we are kind of polarized between those who are hyped to get back to normal and vaccinate, and those who are still skeptical of the vaccine itself. So yeah, but I can't wait to get back to normal. So yeah,
What is normal anymore?
indeed. So yeah, that would be a good point. What do you think? How do you think life is going to change after the last case of COVID-19 in your country, for instance? What do you think is going to change compared to pre-COVID?
Honestly, I don't even see this ending soon because the way our cases are increasing at the moment, it's crazy. So I can't actually see the end, but one thing I'm hoping for is that everyone is a lot cleaner after this whole thing and things are more hygienic.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
What about you?
Um,
And remote working is a thing
yeah,
forever.
absolutely. That's my favorite part of it. I've always said that I don't think too much is going to change. Because I do not believe that humans are actually capable of changing so much in so little time, because it's going to be basically a couple of years of this pandemic. But at the same time, I do think that some small things are going to change, but we are not going to even recognize them. For instance, smart working and remote working, however you want to call it, that's a thing now, and it will be a thing in the future. That's the thing that I think that's the most precious thing we've learned during this whole pandemic. But other than that, I don't think anything else is going to change. Even hygiene, I have loved some new measures, some new things, like going on the bus and having all people wearing masks and constantly washing their hands when they get when they go to a bar or to a cafe. Those things, maybe they have changed some people, but not too many. I fear.
Oh, well, I mean, hopefully it changes some people. But yeah, any changes you see happening in 2021, brand new year? Speaking of brand new, we have our new theme
Yeah, I
song.
hope you loved it.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a vibe.
Yeah.
That's thanks to a producer, Henrik, who is actually our last week's guest. It's one of her producers on her latest single, Me, Myself, and I.
I loved it. I loved it. This theme was accurately chosen, and I don't know. I just love it because it's both chill and it gives me hype at the same time. So
Yeah.
I just love it.
And also we have a new logo, we have a new look, we're all fresh and clean for the new year,
Yeah.
starting off on a new clean slate. I'm excited.
Yeah, I shall say I have a beard now, but that is not reflected, and this hurts me a bit because I love my beard.
Yeah, that's the thing about cartoons. They're not, exact, but
I mean, you
I
know
mean,
what?
at any point you can shave your beard off. So
That's true. But the thing is that it's the first time in my life I've actually grown my beard and curated it and gave it time and everything. So that's why I wanted it to be recognized. Yet it is not. So I'll wait for season 3.
yeah, season 3, you're gonna grow a beard.
Yeah, maybe even longer than this. But anyway, yeah. So at the time we're recording this, we have to say it's not New Year's Eve. Okay. So what are your plans for New Year's Eve?
For New Year's Eve, we are doing our Instagram live.
Yes, we are. What time is it?
From South African New Year's to Italian New Year's,
Hmm.
which we are 1 hour apart. So
Yeah, but yeah, by the time this episode will be out, you should have followed
yeah,
our
people should have
Instagram
joined.
live. Yeah.
I want for this year. I want our social media to be engaging, and people to send us messages and slide into our DMs and comment on our stuff, tweet us, anything. I actually put out a question last week, I think, asking people if they had any questions for us. We got one whole question.
Oh.
So this question was from one of my friends in the Philippines, Marge.
Well, March.
And she asks, one second, I'm going to just pull it up. I had it a few seconds ago.
Pull it out, Jamie.
So she asks, what makes your partner Nabz interesting for you?
Oh, good question. I think for me, do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay.
Take it away.
For me, I think it's having a completely different background. That's what makes it the most interesting, because we have different approaches to every single topic. We might agree on some things, but I feel that the points where we disagree are more than those where we agree, and this is going to come out even more in the future. So I think that this is what makes it interesting most of all. Like, we're not even just from different countries. It's different countries, different continents, different cultures. Yes, I think the only thing we have in common is religion. But other than that...
and our names.
Yeah, names, right. But other than that, we don't have anything in common. And I've always believed that if you keep surrounding yourself with people who just think like you, from your same background, it's going to be a bit boring. But I think this is far more interesting.
Yeah, it's funny that you say this, because I was gonna say the exact same thing. Like, for me, it's because we are so different, which is what makes it interesting in the first place. I mean, we do have our similarities. We both like F1. We're both into football. But then we have our differences, where you are pure capitalist and I'm not.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not pure capitalist. I mean, I do love
okay,
I do think that
to...
capitalism is the best system, but it has its bad side, and we can discuss that. But I do agree.
Okay, we're making progress here, because, I mean, at first you were...
No, I said that as a joke. But yeah, I do agree. And I mean, of course, we agree on some core values, like, respecting human rights, respect respecting every single person in the world, and these core values are the same, of course. So we find ourselves on the same side in some specific battles. But other than that, of course, we have our differences, and that's what is going to come out even more in the future. So, yeah, I think that this is the most interesting thing about you and about this podcast.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all? I feel like you have more to say.
No, I mean that's mainly it. There are some more specific things, like you have lots of crushes, so that means
I have two.
Yeah, I mean the average amount of crushes every single person has is, I think, less than one. But yeah, you more than doubled it. So that means if we keep inviting your crushes, we might have a guest per episode. So that's a nice number for us.
No, I promise you there's only two. I'm not interested in any more than two at the moment. We'll see.
Yeah, everything can change.
I mean, it's not like short term. It's been like for 3 years.
Wow.
It's been the same two people.
Wow. I mean, I don't think
I'm loyal.
Oh, you know what? I did have a crush. So when I was in high school, I had a crush on this girl who was in my same class, and I had a crush which went on for 3 to 4 years. But my crush was heavy, so that was pure simping. I was like under a bus for her.
Oh God.
But yeah, that went on for 3 years, 3 to 4 years, and then yeah, I mean, even these 3 to 4 years, nothing happened. Yet I was still, you know, I was living on another level, I reckon, mentally. But yeah, that's my record. If you can break it, chapeau to you.
What record is that?
3 to 4
like
years.
Being a hardcore simp.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm matching that so far. It's 3 years.
3 years, okay.
And 2 people, so it's like balancing.
Right. If you can keep it until, let's say, June, let's have a whole podcast dedicated to your love life, and we can celebrate.
Yeah, and we can call them, and we can have a chat with both of them at the same time.
And have how is it to be someone's
I'll
crush
die
for 3.5 years? I mean, wow. I mean,
the thing is also, like, I've never like had a super hard crush or a crush on anyone in my own country, if I'm being honest. So both of them are overseas. So what am I gonna do about this?
Yeah, that's tricky.
I don't like men in my country.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. There's something that just like not. There's no. I think I know what it is. There's no challenge in getting them, or I'm just scared that they're not gonna accept me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somewhere between the two of things.
So.
But I think I like pain. Like the pain of not being able to see them physically, and I think it's like safe that we're not in the same city.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like safe.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, it's getting increasingly easier to talk over a chat or over a social network rather than in person.
DMs.
Right, sliding in someone's DMs is quite a thing now. So what I think is that yes, it is good that social media has helped people come out of their insecurities at times, even being anonymous sometimes, not having your real photo, your real name helps. I mean, so many people I've seen have met via Discord, for instance, playing some random online game. And then they got to meet up in real life and they were super
Yes,
nervous.
that's the
But
kind of story I want. Like, that's
okay,
my
what
ultimate
kind of games
dream.
do you play?
Me, I don't play games.
Yeah, okay, so
The last game I the last game I ever played, besides iMessage games with you,
uh
the last game I played was The Sims.
wow.
And I think I was about 16, 17.
So I have to say that your country, South Africa, has a nice male to female ratio. As of 2019, there were 29.7 females and 28.86 males. So that's
I
even. That's
I
a
think there's
great
there's
ratio.
more females in our country than there are males,
I mean, it's
if
not
I'm
too
being
many.
honest.
Not too many. It is just a bit more than 500,000.
Um, yeah, but it's still the pool is difficult. The dating pool and whatever, the
Yeah.
eligible bachelor pool is
Hmm.
very shallow.
Yeah, it also depends on having some specific areas where females are more, and then some other areas where the male population is far more than the female one. But yeah, I think that nowadays it is a bit too common. Just personally, I think that is a bit too common to DM someone rather than approach them in real life. So what I want personally is quite the opposite than that. Is I would like to meet. So yeah, here's my dream: to meet a girl in the library while she was reading a
Of
book which I
course.
might like actually, and I just, yeah, we just start talking there. We talk about that book, and yeah, we end up in a nice, cozy, and comfortable relationship. So that's cliche to some people, but it is
Yeah,
my
sounds like a movie.
yeah, it does. But it is what I'm looking for. I've slid in in some girls' DMs in the past, of course, and I still do that at times. It's completely normal, but I do recognize that it is not how I would ideally want my um, relationship to begin.
Yeah, and I know like men find it like they more hesitant to get serious with someone over text and DMs, whereas like me or like any I think like a lot of people are comfortable with that. They like, okay, let's go like full ham
Hmm.
um in DMs and texts, but other people are like not so much like, no, I'd rather get to know you in person.
Yeah.
So yeah. And remember in one of our episodes, I think it was episode 3 with Thea. Was it episode 4?
Uh, no, it was episode 3. Yes.
Yeah, there's been a few episodes. So
Yeah.
I was telling you about my matchmaking
Yeah.
debacle. So, anyways, Miss Matchmaker
Mm-hmm.
found someone
Oh.
for me. Yeah. So she found someone for me. I was like, I didn't even say yes, but she was like in contact with my mother and whatever, and she said, I think my mother gave her the go ahead to give this guy my number.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, so my mother's like, oh, this guy is going to call you or message you. And I was like, why? Anyways, so this guy messages me, and then I was like, okay, what do you want? In my head, I didn't tell him what do you want. So then he was like, I was like, you know what, this was against my consent, but I'll give this a shot. Asked him for his profile. Okay, cool. Younger than me. But then the thing that got me, like that completely turned me against this whole thing and like was so anti this thing,
Mm-hmm.
was the fact that he was short. He was under 1.7.
Wow.
And I was just like, you're almost my height, my guy.
Right.
Like, and I told him outright, like, so I said, okay, I'm a really bad texter. Can you call me and whatever? So he's like, okay. Then he started giving me excuses. He's like, oh, he had an allergic reaction and then his phone died. Eventually, he did call me. And he just kept laughing at everything I said. And I was like, why are you laughing? I'm not that funny.
Yeah. That's why I never laugh.
I know.
No. I mean,
And I told him, I was like, oh, you're kind of short.
yeah.
He's like, oh, you tall for the girl. I was like, no, I'm at the
How
average
tall are
height
you?
for. I'm not gonna tell you my height on this,
Right. Right. Fair enough.
but
What's
yeah,
the
he was almost
difference between you? Let's put it like that, so that people have to do the maths, and no one is going to do the maths.
I'm close to 1.7.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, no, so anyway, and also like then we're talking like he didn't even like sport. Yeah, we had nothing in common. So I was just like, nah, fam. I was like, okay, I'll let you know. And then I told my mother, I was like, tell her no. I said no, like we have nothing in common.
Hmm.
And also he giggled. So I was just like, guy, I'm not funny and
Yeah.
also don't giggle.
Well, to be fair, so you talked about height. So I'm personally like 1.88 or 89, something like that. Which, if you're American, it should be like 6'3" or 6'4". But
That's a nice height.
yeah, it is, and I'm privileged. Um, but to be fair, I know some short people who actually get are successful in their love lives. So it is not. What I feel is that if this guy had quite the personality and was not just laughing, for instance, or was actually self-confident and or whatever it is, you don't have to fear. I mean, your height should not by
I
any
know
means.
it's I that's like my issue also. Like I find a problem with every little thing. So, but I mean, also if he was a bit more confident,
With
that would
every
have
little
helped.
thing, you called him a little thing, wasn't it?
I mean, I would have forgiven the height thing, but like
Yeah.
but it's not a problem being short. Like I don't mind that. It's just my personal
No, no,
preference.
no. Sure, everyone is entitled to have their own
Yeah.
preference, but um, I think that your height should not, by any means, keep you from texting, for instance, the girl you like. You
Oh yeah,
never know.
definitely.
You never know. Maybe they're into short guys. I've seen girls who
Unless
are.
she's a bitch like me.
Yeah, I mean, don't text her. But I've
Don't.
seen.
Unless you're over 1.7,
Yeah.
1.7.
No, I mean,
I
I've seen girls actually saying, I don't like too tall guys. I like short guys. So that's their preference. So you should not,
Yeah.
by any means, think that even your looks, should not keep you from texting someone. Be confident about who you are rather than how you look or how tall you are. Think that self-confidence, self-awareness are what actually end up helping you in your love life. So, to put it out, I'm single, so I'm the least. I mean, I'm not the right person to give advice, dating advice, or anything. But just from my very little bit experience, I shall say that being confident is and having a personality helps you so much more than being good looking.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
My crushes are
I'm not
both
sure I
extremely
understand.
attractive.
Yeah, sorry, Siri went up. What did you say?
She's interrupting us. She wants to be a guest on our show.
No, she's getting. I mean, I'm talking about dating, and she's getting jealous. That's
Oh.
why. Yeah.
Um, no, I was saying, yeah, both my crushes are extremely attractive.
Yeah. Um,
And they're both
they
tall.
they are actually.
I
Absolutely.
would be like, I if they showed one dot of interest, I'd be ready to take the next flight
Bloody
to
hell.
Europe.
Wow. I mean, oh, yeah. That would be quite a romantic thing. I mean,
Yeah.
just think further ahead, 30 years from now, and you're talking about how you actually met and how you travel to the other side of the world just to be together. That would be quite a hell of a story. So
Yeah, that's my idea of
yeah,
romance.
good luck. Wow.
Thanks. Really trying here.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like apart from that, so I bought a diary the other day, a 2021 diary. And
You
it's just
actually
for
buy diaries.
yeah. So it's more for like journaling,
Oh,
thoughts, gratitude, manifestation, things that I really want from this year, like just thoughts and feelings and stuff. So I was paging through it, and at the beginning of the diary, there's like random challenge list. So I was like, this is actually a cool thing that we can both do.
huh.
So there's like random challenges in here. I don't know if you are keen for
Right,
this.
of
We
course.
can we can we can do these throughout the year and then document them in the podcast.
Like what?
Okay, so the first one on the list says go an entire day without checking social media.
So does social media include like WhatsApp?
Nah, I don't. WhatsApp is not social media. WhatsApp is a
Okay,
messaging tool.
yeah. So it's basically Twitter,
Twitter,
Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram,
I
yeah.
don't use Facebook. I just use
Snapchat.
I don't use Snapchat either. So for me, it would be just Twitter and Instagram. I can easily do that. Let's do for a week. How about that?
I've done it before.
Okay, let's do 2 weeks. I mean, it's a bit,
2 weeks.
yeah, it's a bit too easy to do it just for one day, isn't it?
Who's gonna update our podcast social media then? We're gonna have to schedule posts.
Right, that would be lame, wouldn't it? But I'm sure that our fellow and loved listeners will understand. We are in the
Yeah,
middle of
we'll
a
tell them.
challenge.
So if they're listening to this episode, they'll know that we are doing random challenges this year.
Yeah,
So like there's other stuff here as well, like fly a kite, reduce
like
sugar intake,
uh,
mm,
I have close to zero sugar intake.
test out a new cheesy pickup line. Oh, you're gonna have to give me tips because I love sugar.
I just cut it. I used to have, for instance, coffee. I used to have my coffee with quite a lot of sugar. Just one day to the other, I just said no, zero sugar. I had to suffer through it for the first month, I reckon. But then
Uh,
I got used to it. So, yeah, I mean, zero sugar. And that helps me a lot because from coffee, it was tea. And now I take my tea with no sugar at all.
Ew.
What?
I tried it. I tried like cutting sugar out once,
Mm,
and then the best I did was cut my sugar in my tea from 2 teaspoons to
right.
one. But I've done it before. I can definitely do it.
Yeah. So it depends on. I think it varies from person to person. I mean, for me, if I don't do one thing, like out of the blue or all in once, it doesn't work. So if I start,
Yeah, you have to wean yourself off it.
right, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's some interesting challenges here. They're definitely doable. Like stop walking and texting, learn
Yeah, I can't do that.
learn
I
some
can't do that.
trivia
I
from
can't.
trivia
I
night,
can't.
test out a new cheesy pickup line. I said that. Learn at least 5 new words and use them. Start a conversation with the person next to you in a queue. Buy a loved one some flowers for no reason. I'm hinting.
I've done this all. I mean, for the flowers, I do it.
No, but this is a new year, so
Uh-huh.
new challenge. So like,
Like the flowers, I do it like quite
so now we have to do
oftenly.
it this year.
Yeah, the flowers, I do it quite oftenly for my mother. Love
That's very
mum.
cute.
Yeah, I always get her flowers. Um, but yeah, the other ones, I do them all. Like even usually, I always do them. Even talking to people in a queue, even if I'm just grumpy and I want to complain about someone moving too slowly, I complain to someone around me. So I already do it. But yeah, I mean, I would happily take on these challenges. I would make them a bit more challenging though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as we don't do physical challenges, because I hate those. Like, I'm not going to do 100 push-ups because I'm a lazy
No,
person
it's not
from
like
this.
physical stuff. It's
Yeah,
just, well, I mean, it's physical, but not like exercise challenges, you know?
yeah. I
It's
mean,
like meditate, try meditation. I love meditation. That's actually like one of my favorite things. It's so calming. It
yeah.
makes you more aware of your thoughts, your feelings,
Hmm.
where you're holding tension in your body.
That's
Um,
the thing I should
there's
do.
this,
Like,
there's a nice app that I use. It's called Insight Timer app, and
I
there's a lot of
used to use
free guided
Headspace.
meditations. Yeah, I also used to use Headspace, but then I kind of ran out of stuff, and it was very monotonous. So
Hmm.
with this app, it's like various teachers
Okay.
and various lengths and different guided meditations, and then there's just music on. um so if you want to try meditation for the first time, it would be a really good app to try. It's called Insight Timer.
Yeah, and this is not a sponsored podcast.
No, definitely not. It's something that I personally use, and I love it. I love this app.
Yeah, absolutely. I should. I mean, that would be a nice challenge for me. Like, meditate for uh, start with 2 weeks in a row, like every single day. Um, yeah, that would be a nice challenge for me.
So we actually started, well, someone at work started it where every day at 11 we'd go into the boardroom and just meditate for 5 to 15 minutes every day.
Oh,
And then you kind of just get into that habit. And then the days that you don't meditate, you just feel like, oh, something is missing in my day.
yeah. Well, that there are some good challenges. For instance, I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, which I think everyone knows, and he has a group of friends, and they have this nice challenge which I would like to do. So if anyone is willing to lose some weight for any reason, just
Me.
hit me up. Yeah, so it's a great. It's called like the sober challenge, and basically they do it with money, of course, and every single one of them like tips puts $100 on the table. So they start at the beginning of October, and they weigh at the beginning of October, and by the end, whoever loses more weight in percentage wins. So
Mm.
I desperately need that.
Yeah, I feel like so weight loss is something that you need to do for yourself. So you need to you first need to accept yourself, accept who you are, love yourself for who you are.
Yeah, of course.
And a lot of people are under the misconception that, oh, if you're fat, you should hate yourself and you're unhealthy and you need to do something about it. But I feel like you need to take a kind approach to weight loss. And that's the only way it's going to work, because that's what I found. Like, I feel like the more people pressured me into losing weight, the more stubborn I became, and I didn't want to do it. But lately I found like, you know, if I'm kinder to myself and speak words of kindness and accept who I am, and then, you know, it comes naturally and you want to do it for yourself, not for other people. Um, and I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. And yeah, it's a huge thing. And I
Oh,
think it's all about self-love.
I mean, yes. Mm, I do not agree with the thing that uh being like that fat is not unhealthy. It is unhealthy by a various number of reasons. That should not mean though that you should hate yourself. No.
But
I
not
think
no sometimes it's not actually like body fat. Sometimes some people just retain a lot of water retain. Obviously that's not healthy, but like you can eat, you know, healthy. It's portion control as well. And yeah, it's
no,
also, it is
uh,
unhealthy, but you don't tell someone, oh, lose weight because you're gonna die of obesity, because that's just fat phobia. You know,
uh,
and that's it makes people feel uncomfortable, like,
okay,
yeah.
and I do agree, but
Because I mean, like, I just saw this video of this like really skinny girl eating like flippin' two pizzas and chowing down copious amounts of unhealthy food. And I was just thinking, I was like, if that was an overweight girl, people would be like, oh, you're unhealthy, you need to do something about your weight. But this is also a skinny person consuming the same
yeah,
unhealthy food. It has the same effects. So being skinny is not synonymous with
yeah,
being
but
healthy, you
yeah.
know.
Well, wait. So I
But
think
people just no automatically associate fat people with unhealthiness.
okay.
But
So
there are also
the thing
skinny
is that,
people.
for instance, personally, when I see someone smoking, I go there and I say you should not smoke. If they're friends, I go there and I say you shouldn't smoke. This is going to kill you. Which is basically the same thing we do with um, people we love, people we care about. When we see them in a bad condition from a health perspective, we just say you are in a bad condition. And being overly fat, and which doesn't mean like curvy or anything like that. I mean, if you think that a random girl looks like a porn star, just shut up and listen, because it's not like that. Okay, so not everyone is fat, not everyone is skinny, and no one is going to be like your perception of girls or boys or whatever. But at the same time, I do think that there are some indicators which say that some people are indeed severely unhealthy because of their condition, and it is a condition. Now, you should not, in any point in your life, hate yourself or encourage self-hating behaviors. That has nothing to do with being fat, with smoking, or with anything else. You should always love yourself. Loving yourself is the first point of accepting how you are and how you would like to be, and work towards that. If you hate yourself, you're never going to improve. So you should always love yourself. But at the same time, there is nothing bad in saying, right, so you are for instance, me, I am this fat and I'm not how I would like to be. So having that dose of saying, okay, of course I accept myself, I love myself, I was just talking to my mom earlier and I said I'm close to perfection. So I do love myself,
Of
but at the
course.
same time I'm accepting my little flaws and I would like to change them. So mm, my thing is that there's not a universal approach. So me, for instance, I do need to be a bit hard on myself to properly change, because if I'm too soft on myself, I'm not going to change some things. But some other people, of course, have and require different approaches. So that's why I don't think there's a universal approach by which you can say you should not, you should approach this person like this. So personally, if I see that, if I had a friend, I do not, so I don't say that, but if I had a friend who I loved, who I'd care for, and they were in a bad condition from a health perspective, I would say, you are in a bad condition, you need to get checked and maybe lose some weight. And I don't think, personally, that there's anything bad in that.
It depends on people because some people take things in different ways. So you just have to be sensitive in the way that you approach matters. I mean, like if someone told me that I'm unhealthy and I need to get checked, I'm just like, you actually don't know what I'm going through
Yeah, but you're not
to make
unhealthy.
these
That's the thing.
changes.
You're not unhealthy. Now, unhealthy people are far more obese and far more have.
Mm.
I mean,
No,
they are
yeah,
in a worse condition than us. Far worse
yeah.
condition.
And then it also, yeah, so it's like I said earlier, it also stems to you loving who you are and accepting yourself in order to make those changes, because no matter how much weight you lose, you're never going to make people, other people are never going to be satisfied with you. You, in your mind, you have an image of who you want to be and stick to that. So like for me, like I lost a bunch of weight and people would still be like, you fat. And I'm just like, but I just lost all this weight. Like I was thinking I look so good. And it's just it
Yeah,
hurts. It
you
really
shouldn't.
hurts. But
You shouldn't.
that's why.
Yeah, you shouldn't care about what others
Yeah,
say.
exactly. You shouldn't. That's why you do it for yourself and not for other people, which is the biggest lesson I've learned. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I have a long way to go. Like I have my goals, my personal goals. I mean, I'm getting fitter, I'm getting stronger,
Uh-huh.
but there's stuff that I wanna achieve by the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't. You should never listen to what people say. I mean, human beings are designed to be hogs sometimes, and specifically, some men are designed to watch porn 23 hours per day and spend the rest of the only remaining hour judging other people and saying you're
Yeah,
fat, you're not ideal.
yeah,
So if
and
no, because when I said my previous thing, I know that some people are going to take it as, okay, let's go and just judge everyone who's out there. No, shut up. You're not in any position to judge anyone.
um,
You can advise and suggest people you actually care about and say, okay, I do think you need to get checked. But you, by no means, you should go up to someone you're not close to, you don't care about, go there
mm,
and judge them or say you should do this, you should do that. You should shut up and get off social media, get off porn,
yeah,
and
yeah.
try to make a life better for yourself. I hate that kind of people. I really do.
Yeah, so like with so again back to this whole marriage search, and you asked me why I don't, I can't click with guys in South Africa. It's also like in our Indian Muslim community, a lot of men have been raised to see one beauty standard, and a lot of these guys want fair, thin, pretty, conventionally pretty girls, with straight, light hair and light eyes and, hourglass figures. And, when they see you don't fit that, it's like, what am I going to do with her? But then it's, yeah, so that's also an issue with me because I don't fit conventional beauty standards. Um, I'm not saying I'm not beautiful because I am, but they don't see it like that. It's yeah, it's and I know a lot of girls, women who go through this with these South African guys. Um, yeah. So, what about in
Um,
Italy? What's it like in your community, like your community specifically?
right. Um, so in Italy, we have a problem, which is the Catholic Church. So I don't have anything against Catholics, of course,
Yeah.
but the Catholic Church historically has played a huge role in our culture. That means that I do not think that we are the most progressive people on the planet. Let's put it like that. I mean, my friends, the majority of them, are completely okay, and they do actually mind their businesses, and they're not uh, they're not hogs, okay. But we do have many of them, and that is a problem in our culture. It's not as many as in some other countries. So Arab countries, for instance, I think that those are having the worst time on earth. But we still have a problem with regarding many issues, with homophobia, transphobia, and xenophobia. Also, we still have far right parties going up the polls. So yeah.
And wait, how did we get to this point? I wanted to know about beauty standards in Italy.
Oh, beauty standards.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant population. Beauty standards. I don't think we have a standard beauty standard. I think that many people like the prototype of the Italian girl who's curvy, big boobs, long hair, and yeah, but they get too attached to that let's say to that standard. So they are a bit high, but at the end of the day, I don't think that they're ever going to realize them.
Mm. And yeah, like I was talking to someone the other day as well, and she, we just joke, now that I'm pushing 30, uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's like okay, we just joke like when you getting married? Oh no, when you getting married? Um, so I was talking to someone the other day. Like just joked. I was like, so when's your wedding? And then we got talking about what I just mentioned about the standards that Muslim guys have, and we're like like it's a problem, and they marry people who fits the standard, and okay, happy, and I got the girl of my dreams. In a few years, few months actually into their marriage, they discover what, personality wise we don't click, our values are different, marriages are ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking. It's sad. It's sad, that they can't look past. I mean, I know I want short guys because so this is like kind of double standards, but I mean it's just short, and I said I can look past it, whereas they can't look past the fact that you are not a size 0, or your skin is not light enough, or your hair is not light enough. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I should always be. I think that everyone is entitled to their own preferences. I mean, we should
yeah.
not blame people if they prefer blonde people or.
Yeah, no, definitely you can have
Yeah,
your preferences, but also it's not uh outcasting people, or making it seem like you're rejecting them solely. Again, I said I reject guys because they show, but I mean, I like if your personality, if we click personality wise, I will forgive the short thing. But like, I don't know, it's just ridiculous. Like the expectations, they like physical expectations they have. It's not like even um yeah, I know. It's too many physical expectations from a lot of guys. I'm not saying all of them. Like some of them have unconventional preferences, but it's the majority. Like they grew, and also it's like um older people, um older these Indian aunties have this thing that their daughters need to be fair, need to be thin, need to be like, so they also like make it the standard for their daughters to be this way, and then they raise their sons to also look for this in a girl, because this is the elite, this is the cream of the crop.
Hmm.
And I don't have anything against people who look like this. I mean, good for you. And it's not, your fault that you're born this way, but people take that one look and put it on a pedestal, and the rest of, people who don't fit those looks get degraded. I mean, it's happened in my own family, where you're not fair enough, you're not thin enough. So,
Mm, I don't
yeah.
think that society in general should put some specific expectations on girls or boys or whatever. But I do think that everyone is entitled to their own preferences, which means that if you don't want to be with a guy or with a girl because they don't meet your expectations, even physically, that's completely okay. You shouldn't feel forced to say yes just because. So what I think is everyone is entitled to say no, even just because they do not think that their expectations are matched. Otherwise, people are going to end up in a toxic relationship because he or she is never going to like their partners, and
But I mean, where
so
do these expectations stem from? Like, these expectations are created, like, from a
yeah,
young age. This is
but
what you need.
yeah, but you
Or,
don't.
and it's also the media that feed them this, like, this is the perfect person that you need to be, or like, it's a lot of the media has played a huge role for decades now, feeding people what's the standard of beauty, what is the standards um
Well,
that
I
you
mean,
should look for.
you can have the standards of beauty in fashion in anywhere else, but you
Mm,
shouldn't be forced to adhere to that standard of fashion. I mean,
yeah.
you can be. So you have to picture yourself how you would like to be. If you picture yourself um as a uh overly obese person sitting, not being able to stand up, for instance, that's completely legitimate. You can picture yourself like that, and you can work towards that. That's your business, and you should not feel forced to be how the Gucci TV ad was. But at the same time, someone who comes and says, I do not want to be with you because I do not feel my expectations of who I want to be with are matched. I don't think that's their fault. I mean, that's they're completely entitled to say no because they don't feel like their expectations are matched. So I'm completely okay with that. Personally, I wouldn't force anyone to be with someone else just because it's not even politically correct, but it's because they don't hurt someone else's feelings. Again, that's how a toxic relationship might be born.
And then on the other hand, you get people who get into relationships hoping that the person that they would, so they with someone for their personality. They're like, okay, cool, this person has a nice personality. Now let's change, like, I can change their looks. And then months down the line, this person is not changing, and you're like, shit, like, actually, like, don't you want to exercise, and then
Hmm.
that also becomes toxic as well, because now this person is not physically living up to your expectations. Obviously everyone is someone's type. I mean, like, I think, like, I'm saying, oh, all these guys don't want me because I look a certain way. Fair enough, but I mean, there is someone out there whose type I am. I'm probably
Yeah,
rejecting them because they're short. So, like, where, like,
definitely.
yeah, like, where does how, this is the thing for me, like, you want someone, someone doesn't want you, or you don't want someone, they want you. Like, where do you find someone where it's like a mutual, like, how do people just find a mutual match? Like, you just tick
Yeah,
all the boxes,
I
tick.
don't think there is a specific recipe for that.
I no, there is, like, people are married and in relationships. Like, how do
Yeah,
they find that person?
they
How do
stopped.
you just
Yeah,
start?
I think that they stopped asking themselves that question, and actually went on with their lives, and that came. I don't think I don't think there's a specific recipe of finding a specific person. So, for instance, if I like people, if I like girls who read books, for instance, I might have a higher chance of finding my ideal partner in a bookstore or in a library. But that doesn't mean that I can't find her in a club or in a bar. So I don't think that there's a specific recipe for that. And as far as expectations are concerned, I'm completely okay with them as far as they're yours. So you shouldn't deny yourself or reject someone just because your friends don't like him or her. I if you don't like that person, completely okay, but you shouldn't stop yourself from being with someone just because you say, "Oh, what are people going to think of me being with her?" That is something that it comes from a social pressure, as we said, and as you said previously, and we should. That's what we think. I think we should fight.
Yeah, and also, yeah, I see it's a lot also about if your values match.
Yeah.
Um, you can be attracted to someone physically, but then once you start talking to them, it's like we don't have the same values. I know someone who just, matched with someone on a dating app, loved, he's an attractive guy, looks good, he is a smooth talker, attracted to her. And then next thing, it's like this, he disappears, and then messages her after a few days, and they start, talking. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I actually didn't ask her if I can tell the story, and I know she's listening. But yeah, they if at the end they find, their values are not aligned, unmatched. So yeah, yeah, I think at the end of the day, if there's a physical attraction, okay, cool, take it to the next level. Do your values match?
Hmm.
Also,
Completely agreed.
yes, boom.
Completely agreed. Absolutely. Um, yeah. Uh, Now another thing I came across, and skipping on the whole dating thing. Um, so I was listening to this podcast the other day, and there was this girl who came on the podcast and said, I'm in college, but I feel, I mean, I'm an extrovert and everything. I'm quite friendly as well. But I see she came out as lesbian, and she was finding some issues finding girls in the campus. And it brought to mind some things that I usually hear here in Italy. So people going on and saying, "Yeah, I'm not a homophobe. I've got nothing against the whole LGBTQ community, but as long as they stay away from me." And that is a horrible thing to say, but many times people say, "Oh, all right. So as long as you're okay with people, okay." That is not how it works. So this girl has the same problem. I fear that like gay people do not feel comfortable just going to someone and approaching them as me, for instance, as a heterosexual, I can. I mean, if I like a girl, I just approach her, and if she says no, I go away. If she says yes, then we go on. But I feel that some other people cannot do this because they do not know how the reaction is going to be. And that is the definition of privilege for those who are still asking. But I think that our next step is begin fighting that inner homophobia, that inner instinct saying, okay, I'm okay with people as long as they don't approach me. Why would that be a problem? And I think that this,
Exactly.
at least here in Italy, is still an underrated issue that is going to come up later.
Yeah. That is I mean, I can't speak for that community, but it is, you know, it's not nice how they are outcasted in society. I mean, they are still people, especially like a lot of religious people, who are very homophobic, who'll be like, no, what you're doing is wrong. And, there's outright homophobia, and then there's also like the subtle homophobia, like, oh, as long as they stay away from me. But yeah, like going back to the thing about approaching people, I'm just like, I don't know who's married and who's taken.
Yeah, so what? I mean,
So
if I go to a girl and she's
I'm like,
taken, or even she's married, completely
but
fine. She says, "Okay, I'm married. Piss off," and I will piss off. But
men don't do that though. Men will be like, okay, girl, like, give you the attention, and then 2 months down the line, you find out they're actually in a whole relationship.
yeah, but it is not. First of all, it's not men, right? I don't do that, for instance.
Okay,
Um,
some men,
yeah.
a lot of men.
Um, so this is complicated. So what I think is, let's say person A is engaged to person B, and then person C comes on. If person C hits on person A, for instance, and person A says yes, it is not by any means the fault of person C who came along. It's, in my view, the fault of person A who said yes, without giving the any thought to their engagement to person B. So that's why I think that if some people come and approach you and you're taken, it is your duty, if you're monogamous and everything,
Yes,
to say no. It is by no means someone else's fault except yours if you say yes. Or
I
even,
completely agree with that.
or even if you don't make it clear. So there's no gray zone here. You shouldn't be saying, I don't know, or things like that, and maybe things don't happen. You should be clear from day one and say, right, I'm in this relationship, and yeah, I do not want anything more maybe than a friendship. But you shouldn't give anyone else any other expectation. If you start giving anyone else some expectations, that's your fault. There begins your fault.
Yeah. This whole relationship thing, it's so complicated. Like, that's why I said this year, I'm just focusing on me, myself, me, moi. Me, I am the focus of my life for this year.
Yeah,
I'm not
fair enough.
gonna fuss anymore about other people. If they come, they come. If they don't come, they don't come. I have my cat
Oh,
and 3 dogs.
yeah, that's
It's
romantic.
fine. I have company and have this podcast and all our lovely listeners.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So yeah, so this year is going to be all about me and my pod and our podcast. It's our podcast.
Fair enough. No worries. Yeah, happy for you if you can manage to focus more on yourself. You see that uh when
I say
you
this every year, but then I get sidetracked with wanting someone, and then I lose sight my of me and my goals. So this year I want to put it out there and stick to it. And
yeah,
no man is gonna ruin that for me.
um I uh, do think that this is something maybe I could give my advice on based on my experience. So as I said earlier, during high school, I was under the bus for this girl, and I ended up like I was simping so hard that at the end of the
Did she
day,
know that you liked her, by the
yeah, of
way?
course they did, and she did. Um, and then she no, okay, I'm not going to say it. But anyway, I at the end of the day, I was not happy myself. Okay, because of course I was chasing something that or someone that was not going, and that was not going to happen, and I had to come to terms with it. So when you start focusing on yourself, on you being happy with yourself, that's when things start to click. I don't know why, but as long as you focus on yourself, on you being happy, things will start to work out, and yeah, you might even. So, in order for someone else to like you, you have to like yourself, and you have to be happy with yourself. That is a thing that I personally found useful and learned in my very short life so far.
Mm.
Uh,
Like if you don't know how to love yourself, how do you expect someone else to
right.
love you? You know, that kind of
Exactly.
vibe.
Exactly. And if you're not happy with yourself, how would you expect someone else to be happy with you?
Exactly.
That's why you should always work on yourself first and then try to have someone else enter your life. If you're not happy with yourself, if you're not loving yourself, that relationship, as soon as it gets toxic, you get hit harder than your partner because maybe they have a shell, they are confident, they are self-loathing and everything, and you end up being the one who's wrecked. So you should always be loving yourself, especially when you get in a relationship. It's not a war, it's not a battle by any means, but you have to be strong and happy with yourself in order to be happy with someone else. That's how I see it.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. So so this year is just sticking to my two crushes, 1 a.m. fantasies in my head to fall asleep, and journaling.
Yeah, good luck with that. I should pick up on journaling.
It's very fun.
Yeah, I feel like that oh, because I've tried sometimes in the past, but I lacked the consistency of
Yeah, same
keep
as
doing
well.
it. Yeah, and I don't think, to be fair, that I'm going to pick it up this year. Anyways, I have some goals for this year, and some of them I think that none of them is something I should start doing regularly, except meditation. I might because I do it now, like I've started, but that's not consistent by any means, and it's not working because, of course, it's still
The only thing
early.
consistent in my life right now is Duolingo.
Oh, yeah, because it's harassing you. That's why. You
Yeah,
just yeah,
every day.
it's a Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know what? A challenge we will do as is reading a book. Like you choose a book and you have to read it in a month, maybe. So that will help you.
Uh,
Because you're
um,
not reading books, and you should start. You should start reading books. I do not care who you are, what you do. You should start reading books. That's a whole
Remember,
other
I
level.
told you I'm reading this book, Coconut Cal's Guide to
Yeah,
Surviving in the
yeah.
Shithole. So I'm halfway through that book.
You're not reading it. You read page 1 and 2 from.
No, no, no. I'm halfway through the book, like for reals. It's so funny.
How long is it?
Um, but I've been watching a lot of Netflix recently. I am obsessed with Bridgerton. I love that series. I finished it in 1 day and I started it again now.
Bridgeton.
Bridgerton, yeah.
Yeah, I skipped it. I mean, Netflix keeps putting it on the front page, but I keep skipping it. I've started, yeah,
I'm a sucker for period dramas. I love that shit.
yeah.
Um, so, but if anyone who's listening now, if you've watched that series and you also read books, there's the series called the Luck series by Anna Godberson, which is similar to the series, but it's a book, obviously. It's really good. I read the entire series a while ago, a few years ago, but I'm going to start reading them again because the series reminded me of this book, so I'm going to
Yeah.
start it again.
I've started this series of documentaries, Inside the World's Toughest Prisons, I think.
Oh yes, I saw that.
Yeah, it's great, but it's scary. I've just watched episode 1, and it was about a prison in Paraguay, but it's scary, it's spooky, it's
Have you
I
ever
mean,
been into a prison before?
no, I have not. So we have a prison here in my city, and it's not. I mean, I've went past it like a couple of months ago for the first time, and I was like, I was so spooked. I was feeling uncomfortable because I was thinking, okay, here, and it was quite close to the road, and I was thinking, okay, I'm here, and I'm completely free to do whatever I want. And then, like, what was it, like 50 meters from me, there was this gate to the end of freedom. And I just stood there and I was just thinking, how is it? Yeah, I mean, how different it is to be from on one side or the other of the road. And yeah, I mean, prisons
I've
have a
actually
weird effect
been
on me.
I've been into a prison before, and the people, they look so normal. like
They
like
are
when I saw
people, they're
it
human
was it was the
beings.
ladies' side, so it was just women.
Hmm.
And I'm looking around there, and I was like, there's these people talk normally. They like, and you hear their stories, like why they're in there. You're just like, Jesus,
Yeah.
you're a murderer. You don't look like one.
Well,
Um,
I think that.
it's quite scary also because in the background you can hear like other women like banging on the bars, and
Mhm.
it's scary. But I mean, some of them are just like normal.
Well, it is all a
I don't know what I
matter.
was expecting prisoners to look like.
No, they are just human beings, of course, and
Yeah.
it is all a matter of how prisons are conceived. So I think that prison should offer reformation to people. I don't think that there's anyone in the world who could not be reformed through a
Yeah.
proper process. So if
Personally,
we,
I don't agree with prison systems like as punishment. And I
yeah,
feel like the whole problem stems from communities not having resources to, raise healthy citizens, be it
yeah,
mentally, emotionally, physically. Like, I mean, if you see why people end up in prisons, there's an underlying problem. Why did they end up there? If they had resources to treat that problem, you wouldn't have to put them behind bars.
I absolutely
So
agree.
I think a lot more money needs to be put into giving communities resources rather than just letting them degenerate and then punishing them for their behavior.
I absolutely agree.
Nip it in the bud,
It,
stop it before, give them resources, give them reformation, give them, yeah, it's,
I mean, I think it comes from a medieval point of view of prisons, like the ultimate punishment. So even to
yes,
kids, you say if you do not behave in a specific way, you might end up in prison.
yeah,
And it creates, and it's based on this thing that you scare the kid so that he grows with this inner fear of going in that dark place.
yeah.
Uh, so that you hope they won't do anything bad. But in reality, I think that prisons should be a place of reformation, and it is quite wide as a subject. And we might, I mean,
Rehabilitation as well, yeah.
yeah, rehabilitation is. I mean, I dream of the day when we start treating prisoners and drug addicts, for instance, just as human beings. We all have flaws. We all
Yes.
do bad things in life. Some do it worse, some less, but at the end of the day, we all end up messing up something. It's just a matter of whether it's a big thing you mess up, if you get caught or not. But at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We all deserve to understand where we messed up and
But
to
also, it's like,
reformate.
where do you draw the line? Like, again, like rapists and pedophiles.
I believe that rapists can be reformed. I did not say that they all will, but I say that they can. That's how I see it.
I think, yeah, they should be punished, but also reformed, because like a lot of people come out of prison and then it's just back into the cycle, raping more women.
Yeah, because they're not reformed. If you
Exactly.
reform a
Yeah.
person, okay, let's take a person who actually rapes someone. If you end up actually reforming that person, why would you punishing her? What does the punishment add to that person? Is it just for some kind of revenge or vendetta for the people? I do not think that's proper. That's why I think this should be no punishment, but just reforming.
Punishment and reformation. But also, it's like, some people, like, prison is a better life for them. They actually getting they actually have a roof over their head. They're getting meals 3 times a day. Whereas if they weren't in prison, they're living on the streets. They don't know when their next meal is coming. So a lot of people purposely commit crimes just to get into prison, so that they have a comfortable life and safety, which is actually really sad. And it goes back to me saying that, give communities resources to avoid going to prison.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Oh well.
And this whole thing about punishment, it starts in schools as well. When we misbehaved in schools, like, they want to shove all students into one mold. Everyone needs to be uniform and act a certain way, and then they would threaten us with detention, or if you don't. If your uniform is out of place, you're getting detention, or if you don't do your homework, you're getting detention. But have you ever thought, like, why is this child not doing their homework? Maybe the work really is unmanageable. How can you? Maybe their home situation is tough. Yeah, have you thought about sitting with the child and asking them why this is happening? Instead of just shoving them into detention and punishing them. So definitely reformation. I'm all for that.
Completely agreed. Well, it's been one great talk to start the year.
Yes.
And I do hope that everyone who's listening, you have enjoyed this talk. If you would like to tell us what you think, you can DM us wherever you want. Or if you want to be part of the podcast, you can just DM us. We should do this, like, have and confront our ideas with who's listening. They might agree to come on and discuss things with us.
Yes,
anyway,
so you'll find us on Twitter and Instagram at JustNabz Podcast. I'm JustNabz on Twitter, and you are
Zuhir Nabil, and it's ZOUHIR Nabil, and just DM us if you want. And actually, on Instagram, my name and last name are reversed in my username, but whatever.
And on Instagram, I'm Nabstagram, so completely different.
Anyway, we do hope you enjoyed this episode. Well, we will catch with you next week then.
Yes, all the best for this year, and we hope that you'll stick with us through this year, and more of you join us. If this is your first episode, welcome. Hope you enjoyed it, and spread the word, share it with other people. If there's stuff you want us to talk about, or you want our opinions on, again, message us. We are happy. If you think that some of the stuff that we're talking about is absolute nonsense, let us know, because we are always up for learning new things. No one is unteachable, so I always want to learn new things. So teach me.
Absolutely.
I mean, I will read up on things. I do, like to research, but if you like feel that I don't understand something, teach me.
Absolutely. I do agree.
I mean, yeah. I'm not going to drain you and be like, oh, tell me, and, leech off someone for information. I mean, just we'll have a casual discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wish you the best week of your life so far. And yeah, we will catch with you next week. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye.